This is a Dark Illumination Report Extra with RJ Womack.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for another episode of the podcast. This is RJ Womack, aka Brother Nero, and this is the Dark Illumination Report podcast, where we put the focus of our religion back on the worship of Satan and demons rather than on the individual, and we try to help our fellow Satanists by giving them advice that will help them improve their life. Today I want to talk about something that I'm really passionate about. I got a question from Simon, and I've been answering a lot of his questions because he has good questions, so that's a good reason to answer the questions. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from a lot of you, and I really appreciate it. You know, when you're sitting in a room by yourself with a microphone, you're never really sure if anybody's actually listening to what you're saying or if you're making a difference. And a lot of you have said some really nice and positive things that I really appreciate. And I want you to know that it matters to me a whole lot. You know, I've dedicated most of my life to religious Satanism, and you never know whether you're making a difference. So it's always nice to hear feedback to let you know that people care. The question I want to answer today is a question that Simon asked me. He said, do you ever think there'll be a time where we'll have different ministers with integrity, like an international religious satanic group in different capitals of the world, you know, an organized religious satanic organization? And believe it or not, I still think it's possible. The problem with it is that will never happen until we have a clergy that actually believes in Satan, that actually believes that Satanism is about Satan and demons rather than themselves. And they actually have a desire to help people and to counsel people and to help people along their path. Right now, we have a religion that is corrupted by atheistic Satanism and a bunch of secular humanism, and that philosophy has gotten into our religion and poisoned it. That's where you get this unfounded arrogance that you see in a lot of Satanists, where they feel like, you know, they call themselves a living God, or they call themselves the highest embodiment of human life, and they feel like that's the reason to justify treating people like crap. Until we get back to the idea that Satanism is about Satan and demons rather than just promoting our own ego or using organizations for our own personal benefit, we will never have an international satanic organization. You know, there's this lie that goes around that even some of my former friends used to promote, and it's this idea that nobody really wants to join an organized religion. Nobody really wants to join a religious satanic order or a satanic coven. And I say that that's bullshit. And the reason I say it's bullshit is because it's not that people have lost interest in being part of an organized satanic group. It's that they've gotten tired of seeing a bunch of assholes running around with major egos talking about themselves and being jerks to everyone they meet. And they've gotten tired of the constant fighting between different satanic groups and everybody trying to act like they're the spokesman for Satanism and they're the only ones that can speak for Satan. And everybody's tired of that arrogant, fake-ass bullshit. And if they ever found a satanic order where the idea behind it was actually religious worship, and if they had social events, and if people actually treated each other like brothers and sisters and actually tried to help each other for a change, I think you'd have people join up in droves. I know I would. I know I would want to be a part of that. I know that when I got into this, I wanted to be part of a satanic order. I wanted to found a satanic order, and I did found one, and it didn't quite work out because, again, everybody involved had an ego, and everybody involved was more about promoting themselves than they were about the religion. And I've been part of many satanic groups where it became about the leaders, and it became about money, and it became about power, or it became about sex, or it became about something other than the religion. Now, until we change that, we will never, ever get anywhere. We have to unify around the idea that this religion is about Satan. And if everybody believed in Satan as much as they claimed they do, and if everybody was more focused on serving him and serving his kingdom and trying to do right by their fellow brothers and sisters, we wouldn't have all the problems we do. But unfortunately, you have people that say, oh, I'm dedicated to Satan. I would do anything for Satan. Well, why don't you try to treat your fellow brothers and sisters in Satanism like human beings? Why don't you try to be a decent person? Why don't you actually try to minister to people and help people if you really believe in Satan? But most of you don't really believe in Satan. You only believe in promoting yourself. And like I said, that is not part of the satanic religion. That egotism without a reason is not part of religious Satanism. It's a part of atheistic Satanism that has poisoned our religion. In religious Satanism, you don't see this arrogance. In the accounts that we have of religious Satanism, the people involved in Satanism didn't see themselves as an equal to Satan. They didn't see themselves as a living God, as Satan's equal. That is something that comes to us from modern occultism. That's something that comes to us from atheism, from humanism. It does not come from religious Satanism. Get rid of that shit and start actually believing in Satan, and you'll solve a lot of the problems. Until we find our religious principles, until we find our faith, until we find our belief in Satan, until it becomes more important to serve Satan's kingdom and to preserve the satanic religion for future generations, we will never get anywhere. We have to unify. We have to be about helping other Satanists because it's the right thing to do, because it's the religious thing to do, because we want to see Satanism survive for future generations of Satanists. We need to raise our children to believe in Satanism. We need to, marry within our religion. We need to stay together, and we need to unify, and we need to help each other. But we won't do those things because we've been told that, real Satanists don't pray. Real Satanists don't have faith. Real Satanists don't believe in the gods. Real Satanists don't marry within their religion. They can do whatever they want. Satanism is all about doing whatever I want, and it has nothing to do with serving Satan, or it has nothing to do with serving any cause higher than yourself. Until we start focusing on religious principles, religious ideas, we will never succeed, and we will not survive. One of the things that makes me crazy is this idea that we shouldn't marry within our religion. And we shouldn't raise our children to believe in Satan because, that's not satanic. Well, here's the problem with that. That does not come from religious Satanism. That does not come from devil worship. That does not come from our religion. That is something that the Church of Satan has promoted. That is something that atheistic Satanism promotes. It is not religious Satanism. And half the Satanists out there don't realize that. Well, isn't it interesting that the one thing that everybody seems to promote, we shouldn't raise our children to believe in Satan because that would be taking their will away, or we shouldn't marry within our religion because that's not necessary. Isn't it interesting that the very things we embrace, the very things that we think are left-hand path, that are satanic, are the very things that the Church of Satan and the Satanic Temple would promote because it destroys religious Satanists. It destroys the future generations of religious Satanists. Because if we don't pray, then we don't connect with Satan. If we don't have faith, then we don't connect with the spirit world. And that makes us weak, and that makes us easy to destroy. If we don't marry within our religion, and we don't have children, and we don't procreate, and we don't raise them to practice our religious traditions, then we die out. Then all there is atheistic, humanistic Satanism. Isn't it convenient that the very things that will destroy our religion, will destroy future generations of Satanists, are the very things that the atheist Satanists promote, and it's the very things that theistic Satanists, in their stupidity, have embraced, is the very things that will destroy us. When are we going to learn that the very things we believe in have been brought to us by a bunch of atheists who are out to eliminate our religion and our religious tradition? Stop listening to them. Stop letting them dictate to you what your religion is. Fight back. Get rid of this cancer from our religion and start embracing religious Satanism, traditional witchcraft, the old ways. When we start doing that, we'll survive. But until we do, there's no hope for us. We will always be a minority religion. We will always be weak. We will always be a victim to anybody who wants to abuse us until we start standing up for ourselves. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Sorry I went on a little bit of a rant. Take care of yourself. May Satan be with you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Illumination Report podcast. For the latest news headlines, show information, and more, go to rjwomack.com. That's rjwomack.com.